Connell mentioned the encouraging numbers on the economy. More specifically, he's talking about those jobless claims numbers that came out this morning. First-time unemployment benefits filers fell to a 5-month low. But is it all too good to be true? Joining us today from Washington, D.C., is Democratic Congressman Dennis Kucinich of Ohio, who has his own ideas on how to create jobs in this country. Congressman, great of you to be here. It looks like the numbers are heading in the right direction, but what would you do here and now, given the government that doesn't want to spend money?
Well, you know, the government, if we're looking at austerity, that's a ticket not only to a double-dip recession, but it's a ticket to an economic stagnation in the greatest country in the world, which really should have the ability to create jobs, to get our economy moving. It's really sad when you see 14 million Americans out of work in my own state of Ohio, 1 million people without jobs, and the government's on the sidelines, essentially. I know some will say, well, the American Recovery Act created some jobs. Not enough. Some will say the government and the administration's trying to, with a stimulus now, or they propose something. It's not enough. We have millions of people out of work. What do we have to do? We have to put the Fed back under Treasury, so the Fed's out of the picture with respect to trying to control this economy. You know, Bernanke was in Cleveland yesterday. He's telling, and he's telling people in Cleveland, well, let the Congress create the jobs and deal with housing. Guess what? The Fed's purpose is to help maximize employment, and they're not doing that.
But what about the, not monetary policy, but what about fiscal policy, something that you could have a hand in? What would you do?
Well, what we need to do, because monetary and fiscal policy are linked, you have to recognize that the Fed is really creating money out of nothing, giving it to banks or giving it to foreign countries' banks, and not using the resource to create jobs. Government has to take that power back. That power came from the government under the Constitution, Article 1, Section 8. I want to see the government take back the power to invest in our economy, have a new deal, put people back to work, rebuild America, help invest in business in that way, create private, public-private partnerships. We can do that.
When you say New Deal, we're talking about public works projects, and I always, because everybody on both sides of the aisle talks about infrastructure spending, but we in this country haven't raised the gas tax, the federal gas tax, since 1993. So I want to know, would you be in favor of, if you're looking for money to spend, would you be in favor of raising the gas tax if it meant putting money back into the roads and creating jobs in this country?
What I'm proposing goes beyond that. Even the gas tax, if it was raised, which I don't advocate right here and now, wouldn't raise the money we need. What I'm saying is we have the resources in our hands right now by the government taking back the power it gave away to the Fed in 1913, taking back the power which is mandated, which is allowed by the Constitution, to invest in America.
Congressman, we've talked about this before, but it's not going to happen. It's not going to happen. You're kind of out on an island in terms of this idea, so I want to get into specifics of things that you would do to actually add jobs in this country.
Well, we could pass a highway bill that Mr. Oberstar brought forth a couple of years ago that the administration sat on. And I want to challenge you with what you just said about something not going to happen. Look at where we are right now. You've got the Fed that's not doing anything about employment, even though that's their charge. The banks aren't doing anything. They're sitting on money. Our trade policies are rotten. Our currency policies are bad. We're in wars we don't need to be in. The tax cuts haven't created jobs. So you're telling me that my proposal isn't going to work?
Let me tell you something. Putting the Fed back inside of the Treasury Department. That was what I was talking about.
How do you know that? Listen, I challenge that because that is the one path to getting control of our economy again and to stopping the rule of America by a group of banks who could care less. Their colors aren't red, white, and blue. They're green. And we have to realize that. We have to stand up for America and stop what's happening right now, the crushing of our country by the Fed and the banks. You know, this is what I'm concerned about. And
everybody's concerned about it, Congressman, but there are no easy answers. You're looking at a developed economy. You're looking at an economy that will ultimately put more value on intellectual property and ideas than maybe manufacturing jobs. So what I'm saying is it's not that easy to bring back the jobs that have been lost. And clearly everybody is struggling with that.
We're giving China our technology. GE did that. They're giving China our technology. So we say, well, the jobs are in new technology. Not necessarily. Not when China tells someone the precondition of entry into the market is to be able to get prototypes and advanced technology. We have to stop doing that. We have to have an America policy where the maintenance of steel, automotive, aerospace, shipping is seen as vital to our national security. This is a national security issue, and our country is weak at a time we need to be strong here.
Congressman, you're welcome back.